Alright, hello everyone. We are back for a little bit of hole number 4 here, and we're going to go with Apocalypse. Keep in mind, you can do a similar shot, similar spin as Thor's hammer. You just might need to go into more power, change your rings a little bit. With my Apoc 7, I usually go about 1 per ring for my adjustment here on this hole. On Apoc 6, Apoc 5, I might just shave a little bit off of that, maybe 1.1, for example. With a Thor's hammer, maybe 1.3. So, when we're talking about an adjustment, we're doing a severe, overplay in rings because it plays downhill on this hole. It's going to, consistently do that. There's not going to be, very much else to expect other than, for it to pretty much consistently play very downwind or downhill in nature on this shot. The way that I fluctuate my backspin here is usually about 5.5 backspin. Might just depend on the wind angle that we get. It looks like, it appears my opponent here is downwind a bit. So, when it's like that, I might crank it up to about 5.5, for example. But if it's a little bit into the face, then I might just take a little bit off of that. So here you can see my opponent going at it with, Thor's 6 here. Like I mentioned, if you're playing rings, maybe about 6. Do it with some curl, very similarly to how my opponent's doing, and you can see a very nice run out there. So very good chance to get the hole out. Very straightforward approach here on this hole. We're not going to be looking at something that's overly complicated to get. Here you can see we have probably, very similar downwind. So, I'm going to go at least 5.25 minimal. And additionally, I am going to do very similar to what I mentioned, which is going to be about 7.5, 1 per. Pretty spot on here. I'm not going to add power, but I am going to add curl. There you see, perfect ball. See if I put enough curl on it. Looks like I might have been a little lazy, but you can see speed-wise I'm coming in pretty good. It's all going to be just based on how much curl I put on this sucker in order to whip it around and potentially put it in the cup there. You can see honing in on that is going to be relatively easy. It's going to come down to kind of perfect ball timing. Being very careful with using the wind angle, because if it does change slightly, I swear I had one yesterday that was in the face quite a bit. So, you can have at least, if we're talking like a 360 circle, I would say at least a 20 to 30 degree change from that. So there can be quite a bit of variance in the wind, and you might want to, consider that when you're doing your adjustment. But like I mentioned, in terms of did he just play the wind? No, that's crazy. Oh, that's kind of an interesting shot to go for with a sniper. But okay. So unlucky there. This island isn't too bad. We're going to just kind of do it about here, for example. Additionally, I go about maybe more of a min adjustment, 6 rings, 6 1/4, somewhere in there. I'm just going to try to do it in one swoop. There's no real threat of me losing this, so just going to do it rather quick on the fly. Did hit a great ball, but not going to make or break my shootout there. So there you can see, no real issues with hole number 4. It's going to be very aceable. Somebody's going to get it, and it's going to be just a nice little bonus. Getting the -3 there is just going to be awesome. So, I think you guys can get really honed in on that one, no matter whether you use Thor or Apocalypse. I think, I've done this quite a few methods. If you do want to see some Thor hammer or extra mile, I think. So the extra mile, you might need a decent extra mile. I have a rough bump shot in pro, and all things considered, pro versus expert, very, very little is going to change. So if you wanted to go down and see a Thor's hammer or extra mile shot that I have in pro, especially if you use a Kingmaker, use a little bit more wind resistance, you can probably very much model what I did. So, just something to give you as a supplemental guide, because it's pretty unlikely that, I'm going to get the opportunity to put together another guide for expert. We'll see. But good luck with that hole. Very straightforward. Expect to see some low scores on that one, no problem. And, all things considered, good luck there. And see you guys for hole number 5.